Thank you so much. And can I just also acknowledge Uncle Billy Cummings' words and his welcome to country. It's wonderful to be reminded, I think, of the space that we're in here in Meanjin, Brisbane. I actually grew up on Wakia country, which is on the Barkly Tablelands in the Northern Territory, and did my schooling through primary correspondence and School of the Air through Mount Isa, the land of the Kakadu people. And I'm just going to put in a little plug. There's a book that's written by Deborah Dank about the Kakadu the Kalkadoon people, and it's "We Come With This Place." We come with this place. And I think it's just a wonderful reminder of our history, and it's a book that really contributed to my understanding of the place that I grew up in. My father managed a cattle property. So today I just want to pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging, and I would just encourage us as we go about our conference over the next few days, and we talk in particular about industry development, which is my area, that we think about our engagement with our First Nations people and the very significant contribution that they can make to the economy of our state. So yes, I'm Deputy Director General of the Department of State Development and Infrastructure. We have recently been through a change in the Queensland Government. Our Premier, Stephen Miles, was our previous Deputy Premier, and we've had a few changes to our government department names just in January. So we have our local government and our planning part of our previous department with a new Department of Housing. So we remain focused in state development on responsible economic development and livable communities. That's our purpose, to think ahead and act now to deliver responsible economic development and livable communities. And I think it's a really important part of what this conference will be about. So I would like to just pass on apologies from our new Minister, Grace Grace. Today, Queensland Parliament is sitting, so our Ministers and Directors General need to be in the Parliament, and I'm terribly sorry that you've got me to listen to instead of our new Minister, but I'm sure that there will be time for that in the future. So I wanted to speak a little bit today about some of the key policy platforms that have come into play with the Queensland Government and how that is translating into the program and project delivery that particularly sits in my area of responsibility. So you would all be aware, I think many of you would be aware, that the Queensland Government very significantly introduced the Queensland Energy and Jobs Plan about 2 years ago, a $62 billion program that is delivering a super grid, and it's a massive transformation of our landscape in terms of renewable energy. So the target of 70% renewable energy by 2032 and net zero by 2050 certainly was an incredible signal across the Queensland Government about the transformation that will be happening in our state from an economic development perspective. So in response to the work that's seen in terms of decarbonisation and renewable energy, the Queensland Government, through the Department of State Development, released the Queensland New Industries Development Strategy. And I would really encourage you to go online and have a look at that document released in May last year. It's really important because what it does is it looks at the global megatrends that are impacting industry development, and it really identifies the incredible opportunity that Queensland has, and particularly in regional Queensland, around economic transformation that will support and accelerate the decarbonising landscape that we have. So in terms of that industry development strategy, there's a couple of important initiatives that sit within that. One is it identifies the 6 key industries that the world is going to need to accelerate in terms of decarbonisation, and where Queensland intends to play a part in those industry development. So it highlights the importance of the hydrogen industry, the biofutures industry, including sustainable aviation fuel, critical minerals and battery industry development, the circular economy and resource recovery, and the work obviously in renewable energy manufacturing opportunities. Now those industries sit within our Department of State Development, and all of them have sectoral, there's sectoral approaches to those industries. So we have 10-year roadmaps and 5-year strategies that sit with each of those sectors. The more traditional industries that we understand have been the backbone of manufacturing and industry development, so our defence industry, our aerospace industry, biomedical, they are really important to the ongoing future of Queensland, and we have incredible capability. But what we're trying to do is really accelerate those new industries. So some of the other key elements to that new industry development strategy is that we understand the impact here of our energy and jobs plan on our regional communities. And we've taken a very place-based approach with our regional communities to help them and work with them and co-design their futures. So what we have are regional transformation strategies that we have been working on with our local communities, particularly those areas that are impacted or will be impacted sooner by decarbonisation. So the Northwest and the corridor through to Townsville, because of the incredible critical minerals opportunities that sit there, and some of you may be aware of major projects like the Copper String project, which will connect the Northwest through to Townsville. The other area is the Mackay, Isaac, Whitsunday area, and there is huge potential around our biofutures industry, but incredible existing capability because of our met sector and the mining industry. We've also got a huge focus around Central Queensland. Many of you would understand Gladstone as a huge international powerhouse in terms of mineral processing and manufacturing, and we're working very closely with those sectors and the companies there on what their decarbonisation ambitions are. And then we are working with the Darling Downs and Southwest on their transformation as well. So that I wanted to really mention that place-based approach, because when we talk about bringing on our new industries and accelerating that work, there is a really important piece that we all have to do in terms of social licence. So this is going to take our universities, the private sector, the 3 levels of government, and of course our communities to be participating in that journey of decarbonisation if we're really going to take advantage of the opportunities that come with that. The other piece of work that sits with it is we're going to accelerate and coordinate our land use planning, so our statutory land use planning and our infrastructure planning with the economic priorities of those regions. And it seems ridiculous, but those key government documents that are developed with the community, we have discovered we've been quite out of sync. So there is a real ambition to make sure that we work with our communities through stakeholder advisory committees to make sure that we've got those critical documents working, being co-designed in a timely way with our communities. The other important work that we have in terms of how the Queensland Government engages in industry development is obviously through funding programs, and we have a number of significant funding programs that sit under Queensland Jobs Fund as a banner. My department is responsible for the Industry Partnership Program, and that is a program where we work in partnership and we incentivise those developments that we understand and are a priority for Queensland. So you will see, or those of you who are familiar, there's some significant projects, and I will just mention a few of those to give you an example of what where we have partnered or we are continuing to partner. But the Fortescue, the green electrolyser manufacturing plant in Gladstone is an example of a transformational new industry that we're looking at, that we have partnered with. In critical minerals, Alpha HPA and Veco electrolyte manufacturing in Townsville are other examples. And then we've got projects like Sanofi, which is an incredible biomedical investment that the state and Griffith University and Queensland University have come together to set up that global transformational science hub here in Queensland. So they're the types of projects that we look at. We also look at, on a smaller scale, what we would call transformational projects in smaller regional communities, where, you know, bringing in a project that's going to employ 20 people is actually going to make a really significant difference in a small regional community. So we work through our network of 14 regional offices across the state to work with our stakeholders to understand what those ambitions are and how we can work with them across a whole landscape of facilitation that comes through the Queensland Government. And that could be things like speedy approval processes. Our Coordinator General, Officer Coordinator General, is a unique and significant asset that we have, where we look at state development areas and approval processes and coordinate those for our proponents across government so that they have a really good streamlined experience with the Queensland Government. We've also got organisations like Economic Development Queensland that deals in land transactions, and that of course is a very significant part of any investment. So I'll also mention in this context the 2032 Olympics, and as you would know, there is a commitment to deliver a climate positive games. Again, this speaks to our emerging industries and our ambitions around sustainable aviation fuel, for example. And some of you may have seen yesterday that Jet Zero and LanzaJet have struck a licensing agreement, and there were some announcements around their ambitions in the north of the state in Townsville. Look, there is so much more that I could say about sustainable manufacturing and the work that we're doing in new industry development. Those of you who know me, I could talk about this forever. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm passionate about the part that our regions in Queensland can play for delivering us a really positive future. But yes, on behalf of the Queensland Government and our Minister, Grace, I'd like to wish you all the best for an incredible conference, and I appreciate that you bringing this conference here to Brisbane. I've got representatives from the department, and I know I've seen Trade and Investment Queensland. There's some other Queensland Government people here. We are Team Queensland. We work together really well, and I encourage you to reach out to us if you've got questions or queries or ideas. We're really here to listen. Thank you.